Malaysia can't challenge them, Indonesia can't challenge them. And Russia took the lead, and China, you can say what you want about China, but China stood up with Russia. Alayhi wasallam, that the river Euphrates will uncover a mountain of gold. And those of you who have been listening to me are all already familiar with the hadith and my interpretation, so I can be rapid now. The river Euphrates will uncover a mountain of gold, and people will fight for that gold. And 99 out of every 100 who fight for the gold will be killed. And each one will say, I'll be the one who will survive, but the Muslims must not touch that gold. Number one, no war in human history, no war has killed 99% of combatants. So this has to be a unique war in human history. Secondly, it has to be a war using weapons of mass destruction. Normal weapons cannot kill 99%, no. With weapons of mass destruction, the one that we are accustomed to now is nuclear weapons and thermonuclear weapons. What else there is, I don't know. So this appears to be the Malhama that the Prophet ﷺ spoke about, and in Christian eschatology it's called Armageddon. I'm being rapid now. What about the mountain of gold? Can a mountain of the metal come out from underneath a river? Is this muhkam, something to be understood literally? Or is it mutashabiha, something to be interpreted? The Salafi methodology is that only Allah and His Messenger and the early Muslims are authorized to offer an interpretation. So the Salafi, and I'm not being disrespectful to them, so they should not be annoyed with me. I don't have any boxing gloves on. The Salafi methodology will be, you got to sit down and wait for the mountain of the metal to come out from underneath the river, because there is no interpretation given. But we say no. If you want to sit down and wait, you can wait. We have understood this to be mutashabiha, and we say we have the right to interpret. When we interpret, however, we must always say Allah knows best, because we can be right, we can be wrong. We say that something underneath the river in a vast quantity, symbolized by a mountain, is one day destined to function as gold, and it's oil. That one day oil will function as gold. And that the monetary system, which will be based on oil functioning as gold, is one day going to be challenged. And that challenge is going to lead to the Malhama, or the Great War, Armageddon, in which 99 out of every 100 will be killed. Has the prophecy been fulfilled? Is oil functioning as gold? Because of my training in Islamic studies and also my training in international relations, and I thank Allah for that, the normal scholar of Islam doesn't get this chance. I was able to recognize and to interpret this hadith several years ago. I said that in 1971, when Charles de Gaulle had already died, but the French government continued his policy, and France demanded from the United States certain amount of dollars to be redeemed in gold, I don't know, 3 billion or so. Richard Nixon realized that this is now too dangerous, and he decided to scrap Bretton Woods. scrap the IMF. United States had an obligation, a legal obligation under international law to redeem the dollars for gold. The United States says, we gave our word, but we don't have to keep our word. That's what they did. And yet everybody wanted a US visa. So they took the agreement and they tore it up. And so from September 1971, even the 0.001% that was system that was halal was finished. The US dollar is no longer redeemable in gold. As soon as that announcement was made, the US dollar started to lose value. It was $35 an ounce until September 71, and then it started to drop until it reached 40. Between September 1971 and the Arab-Israeli War of 1973, the US dollar was in no man's land. If it was attacked, the whole system could collapse because it's not backed by anything. So in 1973, the Zionists were able to pull it off. The biggest victory they've achieved since Adam alayhi salam set foot on earth was in 1973. When the war between the Arabs and Israel took place, and the Zionists were on both sides of the war. They were on the side of Israel and they were on the side of Anwar Sadat as well. The Soviet Union was supposed to be a great friend of the Arab, but the Soviet Union was created by the Zionists. Yeah. And the Soviet Union was serving the Zionist cause, although there's reason to believe that perhaps Stalin was a little bit different, but that is another story. When the war took place, they knew that there would be an Arab boycott. Faisal had warned that he's going to institute an Arab oil boycott. They wanted the oil boycott to take place. When Saudi Arabia instituted the oil boycott, the US dollar collapsed by 400%. That never happened in history before. From $40 an ounce of gold, it fell to 160 by 400%. And the price of oil rose from $3 a barrel to 12 by 400%. Suddenly the Arabs are rich. They're reaping money, 400% richer. It was then that Henry Kissinger flew to Riyadh and made a deal with Faisal. And this is the deal. That if you will sell your oil for only US dollars, we tell you what you're getting now is peanuts to what you're going to get in the future. Whatever else there was in the agreement, secret, I don't know. But Faisal fell for it because Faisal didn't have any scholarship. And the Arabs began to sell their oil for only US dollars. And then OPEC was born, and OPEC instituted that oil can be sold for only USD. Even if you have gold dinars, you still can't buy oil, only with USD. When that agreement was struck, an ocean of oil began to function as a mountain of gold, and the petrodollar was born. This is my interpretation of the hadith. I've given this interpretation now for several years. I can't get one scholar to come forward and stand with me. So mine is still a lonely voice crying in the wilderness. But as I said, you should not accept my interpretation unless you're convinced it's correct. What has happened over the last few years is that more and more people are convinced that I am correct. And my critics are biting their fingernails in frustration, because what I'm saying explains the world. And their scholars can't do it. If Imran Husein is wrong, well then tell us what is right. So we got a petrodollar monetary system now, which has replaced the Bretton Woods monetary system. Is the mountain of gold being threatened? Are they about to fight for the gold? Yes, yes. Russia emerged from 60 or 70 years of communist rule that the Zionists had imposed upon Russia to destroy the Christian foundations of Russian society. If you can't understand that in Bosnia, go home and do your homework before you criticize Imran. If you can't understand that in Albania and Macedonia, go and do your homework before you criticize Imran. Russia was attacked. That's what they did, to destroy the Christian foundations of Russian society with communism and the Soviet Union. And then what was written came to pass. And Russia emerged from communism and the Soviet Union to recover its Christian heart and soul. And as Russia has recovered its Christianity, not Western Christianity, Orthodox Christianity, as Russia has recovered its Christian heart and soul, Russia is challenging them. Russia is a nuclear power. Pakistan is a nuclear power. Malaysia can't challenge them. Indonesia can't challenge them. Algeria cannot challenge them. But Russia can. And Russia took the lead. And China, you can say what you want about China, but China stood up with Russia. And then India joined them, and South Africa and Brazil, and BRICS was born, of 5 countries. And these 5 countries, under Russian leadership, they're now challenging the petrodollar monetary system. That's what's happening. And if this challenge continues, the petrodollar monetary system will collapse, the balloon is going to explode. So that's why the war with Russia is inevitable. Because it is in the Hadith, it is in Sahih Bukhari, it will take place. When the war does take place, 99 out of every 100 will be killed. But the Muslims must not